FM and 1180 AM. Streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Bringing you the best in Blount County sports since 1978. Featuring the Greenfield Gunner, Mike Edwards, former Maryville Scott, Donnie Moore, and from the Daily Times, Marcus Fitzsimmons.
Hello, everybody. I'm Mike Edwards, the Greenfield Gunner, and I'm here at the Bluetick Tavern in downtown Maryville, along with Blount County Sports Hall of Famer Donnie Moore, longtime sports writer Marcus Fitzsimmons, and Daily Times sports reporter Caleb Giroux. And this is the GoTeez Sports Page. Tennessee goes outside the SEC to take on New Mexico State in a homecoming affair, and we're going to the whistle blows. And now let's set today's lineup card. Donnie Moore will report on the latest high school playoff scores involving Blount County football teams, and we'll follow up with some national sports stories. Marcus Fitzsimmons and Caleb Giroux will be on board to update us on what's happening in local high school sports. High school cross country will headline. Our panel will take some UT football and basketball, and we'll look at today's SEC football schedule. We'll hit on some of the top college football games from across the country and have some discussion on the playoffs. The Let Her Rip segment is set to go, so let's break the huddle and dive right in. And first off, Donnie Moore, it's good to see you back on the show and in your regular seat there this morning. I know you've had a rough time, but welcome back.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. I really appreciate you guys' thoughts and prayers, and you know, I'm getting there, so
yeah, well,
it's all that counts.
The setup ran much smoother this morning than it's run the last 3 weeks. I can tell you that.
Well, we ought to know what we're doing around here.
Yeah.
So Donnie, what was it? Grass too high, grass too short, grass too wet, grass too dry? What?
It was the holder's fault.
Okay, I'll go with that.
Yeah. Caleb, good to see you.
It's a good morning.
Back in here, and
my New Orleans Pelicans will have a new coach next time they hit the court.
Yeah.
Shouldn't you wait until, like, I don't know, maybe do it during the off season rather than
That's a good idea.
The second game of the year when we're done?
Well, you should have brought that up because everybody in the off season said, "Hey, I don't think this is going to work," and then it took a 2-10 start to.
Oh my goodness!
Though they've actually played that many games.
They played 12 games. They've only won 2 of them, and they won both in a row over 2 of the worst teams in the league. It's not getting any easier.
Yeah. Well, I've got some Let Her Rip here, and I'm on these cupcake games this morning. I'm on the cupcakes.
Do it.
All right. Digestion time.
All right. I love cupcakes. I like chocolate cupcakes. I like coconut cupcakes. I like red velvet cupcakes. I like peanut butter I virtually like all kinds of cupcakes, but I have no appetite for cupcakes on the football field or the basketball court. Rick Barnes' team has opened with Mercer, Northern Kentucky, and North Florida, and has Tennessee State coming up, and later on Gardner-Webb and South Carolina State. By the time they get to Houston, they may be too fat from cupcakes to move. Last week, Alabama played St. John's, and Arkansas traveled to Michigan State. Nationally ranked Purdue and Alabama met in Tuscaloosa, and Louisville and Kentucky played. It's all right to feast on a couple of cupcakes early, but don't founder yourself on them. And speaking of cupcakes, the Tennessee Vol football team will be feasting on a big cupcake this afternoon when New Mexico State comes to town. Pretty expensive cupcake, though. $1.6 million to pay out for them. Kind of ruins my appetite. How about you guys?
Yeah, I don't want any more cupcakes. I've had enough.
I'll tell you.
Having been at the homecoming game where somebody thought it was a good idea to put Georgia in that slot, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Considering the alternative.
You know, basketball, back when I played, back in the early 70s, you played 25 games.
Right.
The NCAA allowed you to play 25 games. And back in those times, if you could win 20 games, that was a marquee deal.
Oh,
I mean, you win 20 games, you've set yourself right up there at the top as far as the season goes and your goals and so forth. But they went to 31 games. And when they first announced they were going to 31, I, for one, was, man, that's going to be great. They're going to be able to add 5 more games or 6 more games. And
that's more quality games.
Quality games. And what'd they do? They go out here and they buy out all these teams and bully them, to get a win. So I went back and done some research. The 3 years that I was involved in the program over there, The first year, 1970-71, that particular season, that team finished 21-7. 21-7, 13-5 in the SEC. Second
record.
place, went to the NIT when the NIT was really something back then because the NCAA didn't take as many teams. But the opening games that particular year, we played Houston, Wake Forest, San Francisco, Providence, Oregon State, Houston, and Michigan State. That's who we opened with at the start of the year.
Pretty tough early season schedule.
Yeah, but you look at what did it do for you. Well, look what it prepared you for. You know, you won 21 games during the year. You compete in the Southeastern Conference, and you finished second, and you went to the NIT. In 71 and 72, we opened with Houston. Then we played Penn State, Michigan State, Manhattan up in Philadelphia, Villanova, and Boston College. That second year I was there. That team finished 19-6, 14-4 in the SEC, and shared the conference title with Kentucky. Right there, again, playing those tough early season games, you know, got you ready, I think, for the SEC.
Makes a difference.
72 and 73, the last year, of course, you know, we weren't eligible at that time as freshmen, so the third year we opened with South Carolina. Then we played Al McGuire up in Milwaukee, Marquette, the second game. Then we played Syracuse, Missouri, St. John's, and Niagara. And some people might say, well, what about Niagara? Doesn't sound very good. But that was post Calvin Murphy years, you know, right there. So they really had a good basketball program. And we did not get off to a good start. You know, we were 2-4, you know, in those preseason games. But we came back and we finished 13-5 in second place in the Southeastern Conference. So what I'm trying to say is I don't necessarily think that the best route to go is to play some of these teams that they normally play. I think it's better that you do a better mix and go. But the 3 years in the overall, the teams at Tennessee, the 3 years I was 71% in all the games, SEC 74% in SEC game wins. So I just think that preseason schedule had a lot to do with it back then.
I think so too. I think like you say, if you take a lump or two early, then you're much better prepared for later on in the season.
And you know what else, Mike, is you had to play better teams back then because there was no TV.
No TV,
and nobody. You couldn't just pull up the games or look at the analytics. You had to go get big wins to prove yourself.
And with no TV, there was no TV timeout. So you just got so many timeouts, and that was the game. And most of the players on most of the teams, including our team at Tennessee, you were geared as a player to play 40 minutes.
Oh yeah.
You know, you didn't play. There wasn't any of this stuff about a coach having his post-game interview and say, well, you know, we got 26 minutes out of Joe out there at the point guard position, and, you know, we felt like he had some quality time. I'm going, my gosh, why didn't he go 40? Why couldn't he go 40 minutes, you know?
That's what you did.
Yeah. That's the way it was set up. But I've come down a little bit hard on Tennessee in respect to the schedule, but, Marcus, it's everybody in the country that does this. It's not just Tennessee, but since I was involved over here, I'll take my shot at them over here.
The dynamics change because the tournament's changed. So when you've got 68 spots, your season is built around auditioning. Whereas when you played, you won your way in because it was pretty much the automatics.
Yeah, you had to win you had to win the regular season Southeastern Conference, and you played everybody twice. You played home and away, so it was a true conference championship.
You won your way in at that point in time. Now it's an audition, and now you start. Hopefully, you put one or two good challenges in there, but your pre-holiday is figuring out your team, and in the NIL era where your roster may be 70% different than it was a year ago, you're figuring out who your guys are and looking how they play against somebody else before you get into some of these holiday tournaments and play a couple big games, and then you start your conference schedule.
I think that is as good an explanation that you can possibly give for all. Anybody else got a better one? And Tennessee, in due respect, they are going out to Las Vegas, and you know they're going to play Rutgers out there, and they're going to play Houston. I think that's already on the board, and I think their third game out there is to be determined.
Okay.
They got Syracuse away, they got Illinois and Nashville, but you know, Caleb, out of all their preseason schedule, really the only good game they've got in Knoxville is Louisville.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
And even when you looked at the schedule in the summer, you didn't know how good that game would be. But
Yeah.
Louisville's looked really good. They just signed a home-and-home contract with Purdue. That'll start next year, so that'll help. But another thing, too, is you get stuck with that Syracuse game in that ACC-SEC challenge. And normally you see Syracuse on a basketball schedule, you think that's a good game. Well, they're terrible. So that's one they didn't have control of. And you remember in years past they went to North Carolina with Dalton Connect and had a really good game there. So some of it is out of their control, but you're right. You see them in that Las Vegas tournament, which is where all the best teams are going, and they're doing their best to sign contracts. But you also got to wonder, too, Mike, how much of it is, other teams don't want to play big games either.
Yeah.
So it's hard to find a team that'll play you if other teams don't want to do it.
Yeah, they don't want to travel to your place.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
and nobody wants to go to their place either.
Yeah, they'll play you, but they want to play on a neutral
And,
site. So it ends up being at Thanksgiving or Christmas. As far as playing your top games,
And
they're
you
usually
factor that in that you got some of them who they're cliquish.
Yeah.
Like there are some Big Ten ACC teams that they're like, yeah, we'll play each other, once in November or whatever, but they're not interested in at all, especially in the last few years, of letting an SEC team into one of those marquee matchups because that's their revenue money.
Yeah.
That's where they're getting some dollars that
Mm-hmm.
the SEC is not right now.
Yeah. Well, they had a great tournament over here at Christmas time, as some of you may remember the Vol Classic.
I love the ball
And
classic.
they would bring teams in. They bring a team in from the north and the east and out west, and usually they were pretty good basketball teams. Marcus, if you go back and remember, some outstanding players came in here and played in that classic. So.
And there you used to see some different things in November. I mean, I remember that they had the year they played the Ukrainian national team as one of their first games. There was a year they played, I've forgotten the name of it, but it was like a bunch of former college all-stars that they brought in here. Some of those things were a little bit more fun than some of these bland cupcake
Yeah.
games.
It'd be nice to watch them play Memphis again. If Penny Hardaway would put aside
Tennessee drop
his
wrestling as a varsity sport.
Put aside his pettiness.
balled up fists.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, I thought they a lot of Indiana has a Hoosier Classic up there. They had it for years. They had Butler and Notre Dame and Purdue and Indiana, and I always thought it'd be neat to have a classic here in Tennessee. Maybe have Memphis in there and have Tennessee in there and have Vanderbilt in there, but you don't play each other.
Right.
Tennessee and Vanderbilt will not play. They would play the other schools, and then bring somebody else in, a Belmont, whoever looked outside like they were going to have a pretty good team, move them into that classic and rotate that fourth team every year. I thought it would be a pretty good.
Well, they've all been even if you get like a UTC or ETSU, those have been really good schools at their level recently.
Exactly. Tennessee basketball team is 3-0. This past Wednesday, they beat North Florida 99-66. This coming Monday, they've got Rice coming in here at the Thompson Bowling Arena, Food City Arena, or whatever they're going to call that. 8:30 p.m. And that's on the SEC Network, and I believe that's their first appearance on the network. Yeah,
that game is. I think it tips off almost at 9 o'clock too.
Yeah.
So you better get your coffee if you want to watch.
Late.
Yeah, and then next Thursday they play
You
Tennessee.
say that, is it AM or PM?
Oh no, PM.
PM, okay.
Rick might fall asleep. That's
And
late.
Then they play Tennessee State next Thursday, and that's on SEC Plus. The Lady Vols are 3-1. Last Thursday they beat Belmont 68-58, and this coming Thursday they're going to go to Middle Tennessee State. That game's at 7:30. Caleb, I find this rather interesting. Out of the Lady Vols' first 5 games, 4 of them have been Tennessee schools. They've played
Their schedule is
they've-
really bad.
They've played UT Martin. They've played East Tennessee State. They've played Belmont. Now they're going to go to Middle Tennessee State. So that's a little unusual. That's kind of covering the whole state, isn't it?
They played at UT Martin, and they're going to go to Belmont next year. It's almost like they got stuck late without having made a schedule and just had to fit some stuff in. But they've played a lot of in-state opponents in very weird matchups, and they haven't looked good in any of them.
Yeah,
either.
they were down 8. I believe they were down 8 to UT Martin when they played them.
They were.
And they haven't blown anybody out except East Tennessee State. I believe they blew East Tennessee State out.
But give them credit for this. If you're going to play cupcakes, keep the money in state. Keep it in the UT system.
Help
Make-
out your sister schools.
Keep it in the board of trustees. And, Lady Vols, let's face it, they're having to sell themselves a little bit more in state. They don't have the following they had 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And reestablishing that
That's
and
true.
that donor base, I mean, yeah, they're going to pay out some of these and they're going to play some games at places they usually would not. But I think there's a method to that madness in a grander scheme. I don't know if you'll still see them doing this 4 years from now if they continue to improve.
Yeah. Caleb, they got a tough road trip coming up. They got to go to UCLA and play on the 30th of November, and on the 3rd of December they're going up to Stanford to play. So
That is a tough trip.
we'll see what they're made of on
Yeah.
that road trip, won't they?
You get everything you want there.
Yeah, and then they've got Louisville up in Brooklyn, New York. So there's 3 quality games
Oh,
right
yeah,
there
big
coming
time.
up. But that'll help see where they're at with that particular program. Let's talk some Tennessee football. Tennessee takes on New Mexico State today in a homecoming game this afternoon. That game is set for 4:15 and can be seen on the SEC network. I'm going to start off right off the bat. What's the value of this game, Donnie? What's the value?
Just to rack up another win for as far as bowl predictions go.
Yeah,
No.
I think
Get a bowl game.
No. Think about it. This is probably the last nice Saturday of the year before the temperatures fall out the bottom. It's a chance to go and give your money to UT. Give your all to UT today.
Give
They'll
all
have
your money.
They'll have donation baskets out there for the alumni to pitch in
Of
their
course.
dollars and drop. Well, at this point, they'll just swap their
Marcus,
phones.
you're so positive. Have you had a lobotomy?
No, I haven't had a lobotomy. I could have been over there. I could have been out for Turning Park Drive this morning. I skipped the meeting that they were going to have this morning
Yeah,
to see some guys I used to run around with.
Caleb, spread some light on this game today. Inspire me.
You get to watch freshmen.
Okay. All right.
You were once a freshman.
By halftime.
Yeah.
But isn't there excitement? I mean, you this whole betting generation. I mean, what's the over/under on this game?
41.5. Well, 41.5 is the line. I don't know what the over/under is.
I mean,
41.5 the line.
41.5. 41.5.
New Mexico State has only scored double-digit points in like 3 of their games this year.
Wow.
so I mean, is this the 70-point game that everybody's been waiting for? You know,
Who's
Might
been
be.
waiting for it? You're gonna be the one editing my box score later. So do you want a 70-point game?
I got no problem with that for homecoming. And
I
I
wrote-
say that, but I'll say that again. Leno's the last for homecoming.
Here,
Yeah,
the over/under is 60.5
Okay.
as of 8:45 this morning.
Okay.
Good
Well, I
grief.
won't comment because we had one comment on a betting line last week from our special guest, and it was so wrong. I believe he was going to take the Vanderbilt spread at 6.5.
Yeah. I've
Can't
got
have him back.
Bless
I
him.
wrote
Bless him.
I wrote a few things down about this game. Play a lot of people. A win toward a better bowl. Donnie mentioned that. Feel better about yourself.
Yeah.
Shoot off some unused fireworks. Those smoky gray uniforms that last week I thought they just should pile all them things up, the black ones and the smoky grays, and burn them. You weren't here.
They're wearing them again. now.
Wearing them again today. You got the parade and the floats. That'll be nice. The
That was
alumni,
yesterday.
don't they bring the alumni band back on the
The
homecoming
alumni
day?
band is joining in for the salute to service.
Okay.
And there will be a flyover. I mean, if you were here in Blount County, we saw them yesterday, but there'll be a flyover by the F-35s.
Oh, great.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, great. Lot
Nice.
of touchdowns. And I had Tennessee Walking Horse on here, but Caleb has informed me that they have benched the Walking Horse. Is that correct, Caleb?
There
no
is a
longer-
concern about getting the horse from the outside of the stadium through the renovated areas to the field. They're not. It's not like it used to be where those tunnels were so wide and
So
easy.
they've sent the walking horse back to Shelbyville.
I used to like that Walking Horse.
I did too.
You know, they brought it in every game.
Every game. That's
Every
something
game.
you
it
look
was
forward
over.
Remember when we went to AstroTurf the first time, they had to stop because he was damaging the AstroTurf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when they
Well,
went
they
back to
couldn't-
grass, he
they-
came back. But when we went to turf again, he had to stop.
They couldn't damage that turf any more than it was damaged, I think, in 1968 or 67.
man.
They put that turf down and it turned black. Remember
sure
that?
did. I remember that.
It looked like it was a part of a road or something out there. It was really a disaster.
Good grief.
Yeah. Of course, they've done a lot of improvement there. Caleb, New Mexico State's going to get $1.6 million today. What do you think?
It's a good deal for them.
Make their budget, won't it?
Yeah.
That's more money than the whole state of New Mexico's got, isn't it?
Well, that's kind of the point Marcus brought up. You kind of wish they were giving it to, ETSU or UTC over New Mexico State. But, yeah, I mean, that it as much as you hate the cupcake games, it probably keeps the little schools in business, especially now that they have to try to pay players.
Yeah.
I don't know what the payroll for New Mexico State's roster looks like. But
A few weeks ago, we were talking about the schedule, and they were playing Oklahoma, and after Oklahoma, they were running out of somebodies. And right now, it looks like the only somebody they got left on this schedule, and it could be a big somebody, because Vandy's off today, and they beat Auburn last week, and they've got Kentucky coming into Nashville, and then they go to Tennessee. Folks, I'm going to tell you right now, the way I see it, if Vanderbilt beats Kentucky at home, which they should take care of that business, and they come into Knoxville and they knock off Tennessee, I hate to say this, but I'm seeing Vanderbilt as a playoff team.
That could happen.
I mean, it could happen, could it not? Guys, what do you think?
It could happen. And I'm telling you, you don't overlook Florida either. You never overlook Florida.
especially on the road.
I'm overlooking them this year.
They're not very good.
They gave
If,
Georgia a
if
run.
you can't beat Florida this year, you're never going to beat Florida in Gainesville. Just don't go down there and play anymore.
We're not. I mean, that's it.
is it.
This is it. But we've also seen Tennessee lose to Florida and have Florida turn around and lose to Kentucky.
Yeah, I know.
Let's think about this. Kentucky has won 2 games in the SEC games in 2 years, and it's both of them been with Florida.
Yeah. How disastrous, and I don't think this is going to happen, but how disastrous would this year be if Tennessee was to go down there and just, lay an egg down there at Florida when Florida's in total disarray, pretty much.
It's their bowl game.
I know.
Yeah, I don't know why you don't think it'll happen.
And then come up here and lose to Vandy, and Vandy goes to the playoffs. That could be that could be the ultimate ending to the total wheels coming off of
it would be really funny.
No, I don't think it'd be funny.
If you have no rooting interest.
But
yeah,
it would just be devastating.
You still paying the talent fee if you lose?
You can just take the Georgia game where you can say, well, we should have won that game, and you know what, we should have won the Oklahoma game. We just beat our. You can just wipe those off the table.
But then, Mike, think
that's
about
the
this.
rest. That's the end of the discussion on
so
the season.
you were okay at the beginning of the year with 9-3.
Yeah.
So they would be 9-3, and if Vanderbilt were to make the playoff, think about it. Then Tennessee could say all 3 losses were to playoff teams.
But
you could say that you finished the year with a big win over rival Kentucky.
But they would finish 8-4 if they lost to Florida, lost one of those games.
So they're 8-4.
Yeah, 8-4, and a lot of people thought they'd be 8-4, 9-3. I mean, going in.
But they could be 7-5 after Gainesville.
Yeah, and they could be 7-5.
Hey,
and
I
that's
believe
what
somebody
Marcus
here has said 7-5 all year long.
That's what Marcus Rain Cloud said they were going to be at the start of the year, 7-5, and the rain cloud's still out there. It's still hovering out there.
He's giving me grief for being happy about homecoming, and he's giving me grief for saying they might be 7-5.
Listen,
you can't win. Marcus.
Okay,
win over Kentucky.
Has Josh Heupel hit the high point with this Vol program? He has not won an SEC championship. He has not won a national championship. He's won some bowl games. He's gone to the playoffs. He went to the playoffs last year. He was hammered by Ohio State. But is this as good as it's going to get, Caleb?
I would say I don't think so. Just because of the way the system is, I think if you make some coaching changes and, if we ever see them pair a good offense with a good defense at the same time, Mike, I think they can go higher than the ceiling they've reached. Mm-hmm. But when you have, if you would have asked me this last year, I would be more on board just because of the gimmicky-ish offense. But he's changed it a lot this year, and they've grown offensively this year, which makes me feel like there's still growth there. and they can still reach a higher ceiling. But I do think if there's no changes, you start to wonder if they're just going to sit in this 9-3, 10-2 range forever. Because, like I said, you still haven't put a good offense and a good defense together at the same time.
And next year you're going to 9 SEC games, so you're only going to have those 3, maybe 2 cupcake games because they've been requiring them to do another Power 4 on their schedule if they continue
and they've got
with that
Georgia Tech next year.
Yeah, see,
and
so
Georgia
it's
Tech's not bad.
going to get it's going to get tougher, for him.
Mm-hmm.
So that brings me to my next question. With that being said, and he's done a great job over there. He's brought this program from where it was when he came in here, which was really in the gutter. He's brought it up here he's really built it up. And hats off to him in all regards. But you know how fans are, and you know how this area is. They want championships and playoffs and everything else. Is it time for maybe Josh Heupel just to put his name out here? There's a lot of marquee jobs open out there. Would he be happy up at Penn State? It might be a little bit better to go up to Penn State, and recruit well up there and play in the Big Ten versus playing in the SEC conference year in and year out. What do you think? Should he put his name out there and kind of?
Well, he's going to get calls anyway.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of openings.
I don't know if he'll get a better setup than what he has now.
I don't think he's got any motivation to leave because you're not going to get something exceptionally better in what you're going to have, what you got at Tennessee already. What it would be nice for him is if he was in those conversations, because it's that whole love-hate thing with the coach. You can hate him all you want, but as soon as somebody else wants him, you're in love with him. He can't go.
That's the way it goes.
So he needs, if he wants, his name being dropped for a couple of those jobs and being in the national discussion, and you'll see this fan base really embrace him again. Not that they don't like him now, but you'll see a lot more love pouring out from them.
Yeah.
It'll be, the master, of course, is Coach Kiffin, but he could walk on water across.
Josh Heupel
is the hype of this Tennessee football, a little bit out of line. You really kind of look back at the football, and I know people love football down here, and they fill that stadium over there, and it's football, and we can't wait the Orange to play football. But when you really look back at it, they won a national championship in 1951, legit. And then it took them to 1998 to win another national championship. And here we are sitting at 2025, and they not even come close to, the 98. That's a long time for what you're seeing over here with all the hype and all these fans. Donnie, am I out of line saying this? Because it just doesn't look like the product has ever met the expectations and all the up stage of the fans and so forth over all these years. It's hard to figure out.
Yeah, sure is.
But they just haven't done it.
You have to look. I think the expectations to think that Tennessee's in the playoff every year are out of line. It's a tough place to recruit. The state of Tennessee is, no offense to all of our prep kids and everything, is not a good state for recruits. You have to play states that are the only school in their state recruiting, like Georgia is the only really Power 5 team consistently now that Georgia Tech's up and down recruiting. Mm-hmm. Florida has a very big stakehold on the South. LSU is the only state in Louisiana. Alabama, you're competing against the nation's powers year in and year out, which is why I think it's unreal to think that they'll make the playoff every year, and that shouldn't be the expectation. But I feel like if Heupel is 9-3, 10-2 in the conversation every year, and then, like I mentioned, every once in a while gets over the hump, maybe wins a couple playoff games, maybe makes a run, I think that's what you should expect from Tennessee football. Now, what I think hurts it is how much money they're throwing at this, and fans think that as everything gets more expensive that it should result in playoff wins. And I think, can you blame them, Mike, if their ticket prices are going up and you're not getting a playoff
game? Yeah, they
game?
continue to go up, and they're talking about more renovations over at the stadium and more money coming in. Donnie, do you think that this program has just kind of, because of where it got there before Heupel came, it really was as we said, in the gutter.
Uh-huh.
Do you think everybody's pretty well satisfied with the 9-3 and 10-2? We'll take that, run with it.
I think deep down, most people would take that and run with it. But there are some, of course, that have higher expectations than that, and I don't blame them. It's nice to have high expectations.
Yeah.
But, you got to look at Got to look at the facts.
Yeah. On a high note, before we leave here, this segment, I didn't see any coaches fired last week.
Maybe a lot. Maybe
Kind of
Yeah.
disappointing not to see any major college
The
football
carousel
coaches.
slowed down, didn't it?
It slowed down. It ran out of electricity or
Ran out of
gas or something.
steam.
Yeah. Hey, we'll take a time out here, and when we return, Donnie Moore will provide high school playoff football scores from last night and some other news from around the area, and then veteran sports writer Marcus Fitzsimmons and Caleb Giroux will hit us with the Mark It Down segment. You're listening to the GoTeez Sports Page, Blount County Sports Voice, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
For over 90 years, Anderson Lumber Company in Alcoa has proudly served and supported our local communities. Locally owned, so the money made here stays here. Whether you're renovating a kitchen, bath, new floors, doors, or windows, Anderson Lumber is so much more than a lumber store and can take care of you from design to install. We welcome you to visit Anderson Lumber in Alcoa for all your home's needs, or shop over 67,000 items online at AndersonLumberCompany.com. Anderson Lumber since 1925. Aubrey's is known for real comfort, real food, real good. But remember, Aubrey's is also really into Blount County. Aubrey's Maryville has been a strong supporter of local schools and sports programs for more than 15 years. From baseball to football, dance teams, and marching bands, Aubrey's has helped schools and youth programs generate thousands of dollars. It's easy for us to do because it's the right thing to do. So the next time you're looking to choose a place to eat, we hope you'll choose Aubrey's. Real comfort, real food, real good. See what's on the menu at aubreysrestaurants.com.
Welcome back to the GoTeez Sports Page. Donnie Moore, we got guests in the house, and
We do.
Marcus is going to get to them, but high school playoff action last night, it was a good night for Blount County high school football team, was it not?
It was. Of course, almost everybody played on the road last night, so and will continue to do so.
And that's probably a good thing because nobody could get around the whole city with all the traffic and everything.
Yeah, right,
so.
exactly. But, yeah, we'll go ahead and give you a rundown here of what happened last night in prep football playoffs, round 2 last night. In Class 2A, Eagleton hosted Grundy County and came away with a big 17-6 victory over Grundy County. And will play next week. They have to hit the road going to Bledsoe County, who beat Happy Valley 21-20, and that was an upset. Wasn't it, Marcus?
A little bit of one. I won't say it was a shocker,
not huge,
but I mean, seating wise, it was. But yeah,
Good. Moving on to 4A right now. Alcoa left school early yesterday and traveled to Middle Tennessee. Traveled to Upperman, which
Are they back yet?
I'm not real sure.
okay.
Depends on how far they had to walk.
Baxter isn't that far. It wasn't like a Murfreesboro.
Well,
trip.
no, it's in Putnam County, near Cookeville, but
That's far enough.
that's far enough for me, yeah. But Alcoa traveled to Upperman, and I thought this game was going to be an offensive track meet.
It was an offensive track.
It was for a while, wasn't it? Yeah, no doubt. Because every time Upperman would score or Alcoa would score, the other team would come back and answer. So that one ended up with Alcoa doing what Alcoa does and beat you in the second half. They won that one 49-28 over the Bees of Upperman. And next week in the quarterfinals, Alcoa will travel south instead of west to Red Bank, who pretty much annihilated Gibbs last night, 34-7.
Yeah,
So-
they matched. Gibbs did not have a good matchup
No.
with that. Red Bank was very equipped to stop what Gibbs likes to do because they see a lot more of it down in Chattanooga than we see around Knoxville.
Yeah.
But the winner of that game, because I think the premier game in 4A next week is going to be the Greenville-Anderson County game.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah,
it's going to be
definitely.
up at Greenville. So
Uh-huh.
the winner of that will play the Red Bank Alcoa winner. So there's some good football coming up.
Oh, yeah,
on
you better
Friday.
believe it. And then the other football game that was played last night was in the Class 6A. Maryville hosted Riverdale, Murfreesboro Riverdale, and had no trouble with with Riverdale. 47-18, Maryville was your final score. They travel next week, have to hit the road and go to Blackman. And Blackman always fields a good football team. Blackman beat Dobbins-Bennett last night, 28-7. So that's what's happening in the playoffs.
And we'll say, should Maryville win?
Yes.
Should they go to Murfreesboro and win at Blackman? More than likely, they end up playing Oakland in the semifinals. Oakland will play Green Hill, which is one of the new schools out there.
Right.
But in that case, Maryville would have played 3 Murfreesboro schools in consecutive weeks.
Oh, my goodness.
Would they be traveling back to Murfreesboro for that Oakland game, or would they be at home for that game?
If Maryville wins, they will actually host that game for the semifinals.
Okay. Good deal. Let me give you a little bit of a preview as to what's going on in basketball season, which is right upon us, high school. Monday the 17th, Alcoa goes to AE, to Austin East, in a Hall of Champions game. So that we'll look forward to that. Also on the 17th is Heritage goes to Coalfield in a Hall of Champions game as well. Now, what is it? They split the money with that between the school and TSSAA. Is that what it is, or does TSSAA get it all?
The preseason jamborees?
Yeah, the Hall of Champions.
Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame games.
TSSAA gets a cut.
I'm sure they do. Yeah.
And if you lose that game, you don't have to count it. Is that correct?
You do not. That's correct.
So if you win it, you can count it. But if you lose it, you don't have to count.
The current policy is that TSSAA gets a cut. You can decide whether to count it or not, which nobody counts the loss. So basically, if you win, you get to count it, and if you lose, you don't have to. And the TSSAA money goes to building their new headquarters building.
Is that just one game?
I believe you can have 2, but I believe you can only
have
have 1.
2.
You can only host 1, I believe.
Yeah. You have
like
to
you can only
travel
have
for
1 at home,
and
but
host
you
one.
can be somebody else's opponent.
So they could have another game, and it could be called a Hall of Fame game.
Yes. Okay. Moving on here quickly, Saturday, 11/22, Eagleton goes to Cosby, and I'm not sure whether that's a Hall of Champions, Hall of Fame game or not. It did not say on their schedule, so Eagleton traveling to Cosby to play on Saturday, 11/22. Thursday, 11/20, Greenback goes to Gatlinburg-Pittman. That'll be tough for the Cherokees. And Tuesday, 11/18 also, Maryville travels to Tellico Plains to take on the Bears of Tellico Plains. And also on Tuesday the 18th, William Blount goes to Carnes to battle the Beavers. So that's what's going on in basketball for the next little while right here. Now, Marcus, here it comes.
Okay.
Catch it. I'm going to kick it to you, our veteran sports writer Marcus Fitzsimmons, for his feature entitled Mark It Down, after I tell you that you're listening to WKCE 92.5 FM and 1180 AM Mid-Century Radio. Marcus?
Well, thanks, Donnie. You did not lose any bit of that smoothness by being off for 3 weeks, even with your limp. So we're joined this morning, Clayton-Bradley cross country. Pun intended, ran their way in here this morning, and we're happy to have them. Coming back from the state championships, we talked about it some last week, going through the scores in the news, but a top 10 finish for the boys team at the 2A state championship. And for those of you who are not keeping track, and we're going to pester them about this, it was at Shelby Farms Park outside of Memphis. So it was a very long drive for all the East Tennessee schools that went over there. But I'll pick on Coach first. First, thanks for coming in this morning.
Yeah.
We appreciate you being here.
Certainly.
Glad to be here.
And can you give me your idea about the 2 guys you brought in here with you this morning?
Well, these are a couple of our freshmen that we brought with us. This is Tate and Jonah, they're both relatively new to running, but they did really well this season. We brought them in to just let them have an opportunity to talk about what cross country means to them or how they're doing.
So freshmen, and I noticed that when I was looking over Josh's story, because Daily Times did run out there to Memphis, that a lot of freshmen on this team.
Yes, we have a young team. We on the whole team, not on the varsity team, we only had one senior this year. So it is kind of fun to think we're bringing back everybody next year. A couple juniors on the varsity team, four freshmen, and an eighth grader. That's right.
Wow.
And an eighth
Wow.
grader.
Okay. So I'm going to put them on the spot. They don't look nervous yet, but we'll see how they do. And I'll go ahead and give the times off. Tate had a sub 20 with 19:03, and Jonah 27th place in 17:55. Guys, I'll start with you, Tate. What was that course like? Was it compared to what you run around here? Was it a flat course, hot course, muddy course? What was that? What was this one like?
It was a really flat course. It was really nice. It was a little annoying because it was 2 loops and you had to do it twice around, but overall it was a good course.
Jonah, are you kind of the same way? You don't like the 2 loops? Would you prefer a long straightaway that you don't have to go through twice?
That course was actually a great experience for me. So it was like in a meadow, and it just felt good to run it.
Can it help you when you do some of those where you're seeing the same ground twice, that you know where the hills are and you know the feel, and it doesn't, like, you kind of feel where you can where you can kind of lengthen out a stride or whatever?
Yeah, like if I run the first loop, I'll get like a sense of what's coming. If it's easy, I'll just finish the run with confidence, and that's how I got a good time.
So give us. You're both freshmen, so give us the background here. Somebody came up behind you and twisted your arm really, really hard and said you want to run as far as long as you can for a sport. How did you get involved with the cross country team?
Well, I went to a kid named Mia's race, and Coach Luke came up to me that day, and he just thought that I'd be a good runner in this sport, so I tried it, and I found my true sport. So.
And what about for you?
Well, I used to run cross country when I was in 3rd grade. I did it for 1 year, and then I moved. I didn't do it the next year because of COVID. And then I tried it again since my sister did it in 6th grade, and then I moved schools again. So, and then this is my 3rd year doing cross country, and I was planning on doing it since 8th grade because I was planning on coming to this school, and my sister had done it for 2 years before, so I was really excited to try it out. And I did track season to just get into shape, and then I did this, and it was really fun.
So, Coach, you must have a good pitch. I mean, it must be. I'm sure you don't go out there and say, we're going to make you run as far as you can for as long as you can across the field, and we hope you don't get stung by bees or trip or run into a barbed wire fence.
Well, I don't hide the fact that it's going to be hard. In fact, sometimes I get teased because I'll use words like suffering too much, because ultimately I feel like cross country is the ultimate suffer sport. So the kids get used to the way I talk about it that way. But I think my pitch is you don't know until you try. And that's kind of what I like to tell youth is you may hate this and you may never want to come back. But you may end finding something that you love. And what we try to instill in the kids is I'm just going to come and try my best. And the culture is we're all trying our best. Regardless of how the results all shake out.
So you get a 9th place finish, though, and for a school that not that long ago didn't have a cross country team.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, you get a top 10 finish, and you do it with one of your better runners knocked out after regional.
That's right.
Talk a little bit about how that went down on the team, because the way scoring works. You lose a top runner, it's very hard for your 6, 7, or 8 to kind of step up into that, but you all seem to have that happen for you.
Well, I think a couple things were able to work out really well for us. Our 6th runner at Regions had a terrific race at state. He really stepped up strongly. That was Wes Williams. And then I think these 2 freshmen had terrific races, and Porter, our junior, he had a terrific race. And our 8th grader, who just came off of his own middle school season, just made big improvements as he ended up being our 4th runner. And so just everybody had did anybody not PR? I think only one person didn't PR at the state meet. So we couldn't ask for more, right?
And that's what, I mean, I've always taken that as a sign of the training program is working and your build-up is working. If the PRs are coming at the end of the year and not coming in October or like middle of October, because you don't want to see them peak too soon.
Well, it is an interesting thing because you definitely worry as you get later into the season, am I only fatiguing these youth? Am I helping them be able to do their best? But actually, several of our kids also PR'd at Victor Ashe at Regions and then PR'd again at State. So that was really gratifying because Victor Ashe is a hard course.
Yeah.
So I was just so excited to see PRs at Victor Ashe.
Guys, we're going to switch over to the girls team here in just a second, but I want to put you on the spot on about you all start this. I mean, runners run all the time, but the start of your season, you might go to meets where it's 95 degrees and you all are worried about heat stroke. You end the season where you're worried about snow. What's the preference for you guys? Is it one extreme, the other, or do you want something in the middle if you could just pick what the weather was going to be like for your meet?
I personally would say I would prefer a little bit on the colder side, but not too cold because you don't sweat as much, which really I think helps me perform better. But if I was to choose really hot or really cold, I'd choose really cold because you can just wear a little bit of something to keep you warm, and can't really do that for heat.
Only so much you can take off, huh?
Yeah.
That's right.
We hope, Donnie. We hope.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that kind of kicks in is, you start, and this isn't like a track. When people think about it, you really can't tell where you are in the field. So do you depend on people being around the course to help you, or do you just have a feel as to I'm just running my pace? What kind of influences you as to where you know you're doing well or not?
Well, I don't really pay attention to like if I'm in my right lane. I just like believe on me. I rely on like my skill, and I just take it from there. And at the end, I just look back at how good I did. So
I was really happy to see Jonah ran out really hard at State, and he was putting it on the line, and he then just stuck with it and had a big PR and worked out great. The more athletes would be willing to do that because the suffering just increases. Earlier in the race, you're hurting more. So that was really great to see Jonah just go out with the leaders and challenge himself.
And you can't really ask for more, especially when you're doing it the first time.
Yeah.
And you go into State and making those kind of appearances. But I do want to talk because you've also brought. I see the sisters sitting over here, Scout sitting over here. So I'm going to ask coaches to do a handoff of headsets here to help us out. And when I say coach now, we've just changed coaches. So, Coach.
Hello.
Kind of give us an introduction for Scout here.
Okay, Scout is one of our top girls on our team at CBA. One exciting thing is our girls team has really blown up in the last few years. So Scout is one of the leaders in this emerging girls team. We're really excited to see where it takes us.
So Scott, I want to ask this question. It sounds like there's some running background, but this like Coach said, this team has kind of exploded. So are you one of that ones recruiting people, or did you get recruited into this?
I always encourage people to join cross country because it's something that's meant so much to me. I've run since 3rd grade. Of course, I had to skip a couple years because of COVID. But I joined cross country freshman year because it was something that I wanted to try. I'd never been on a high school team before, and it was really scary. This was a new school for me. I joined, and I couldn't be more grateful that I joined. But when I joined, it was just me and one other girl on the high school team. So that was really interesting because we had to run as individuals for the whole season. the next season, a lot of people joined, and that's when Mia Adkins joined. She ran at state last year and this year, and she's the team captain, and she really made a big impact as well. So both of us together, because I was there before her, so both of us together were kind of leaders, but she has definitely made the team bond really strong, and she is the reason that a lot of people are on the team right now, especially like Jonah. So yeah.
Coach, there's a lot of excitement right there.
Yeah. Yes, there is. It's been awesome to watch, and I'm glad you mentioned Mia because one other fun fact, Mia is the first student athlete from Clayton-Bradley Academy sports team to sign for a college team. She just signed on Monday to run for Lee's McRae
Up
in
in
North
Banner
Carolina.
Elk.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and
I'm really excited for her.
familiar with that area, and God bless her because all that is mountains and meadows.
That's exactly what she wants.
I have witnessed the run-up Grandfather Mountain in the past, and that is a sight to behold. Let's put it that way. Some of the best and worst that you can possibly see in a 5K. But Coach, being on a little bit, I mean, we talked a little bit. She mentioned me as impact, but you go from one or two runners to having a gaggle, and that's got to be a dramatic change one season to the next as to what Coach needs to do.
It is thrilling. I've actually been the coach at CBA for 10 years, and I brought my husband, Coach Luke, on 3 years ago, I think, to help with the boys team because that's when we really started to see a lot of success. You know, it takes a long time to build up a program. And then after I brought Coach Luke on, shortly after that, the girls also started to see a lot of success. So we're just really excited to see where we're going. We actually had more girls on the team this year than boys. And we also have a young girls team. Just me as our only senior graduating. So we have a lot of great things ahead of us.
So given where the academy is, what do y'all do for training? I mean,
well, we're fortunate to be right on the Greenway.
I was hoping that was going to be the answer. Does Parks and Rec is your friend when it comes to this?
Yeah, when I started teaching there, we were on a little island and the Greenway ended. But since then, they've connected all the way. We're at the end of the Greenway, and you can run all the way there to downtown Maryville, which I do regularly.
So that's going to put me back, and I'll let the guys join back in if they have an opinion on this. But Scott, does Coach have a route along the Greenway that you truly dread? Like if she comes out and says, "We're doing this one," and you're like, "Oh gosh."
There's no route on the Greenway specifically, but we have a course that's more cross-country-esque that doesn't have, it's not paved. It's our 600s interval course, and that one is mean. It's just, so you run flat on grass, and then it's like one long uphill. You just got to grind up that hill, and then it's downhill from there. But that is one that I dread, and that is one Coach Luke worked really hard to make.
I think I should let
for
Coach Luke.
season.
I should let Coach Luke talk a little bit about that trail.
Oh, okay. We will put him on here because this sounds interesting.
Well, so there is quite a bit of property over there that is on our greater campus that was just undeveloped. So I just went in there with a pickaxe and built the kids a trail.
Now, do you clean out? And I've told this story before on the air, but you all are new, so you haven't heard it before. Do you take care to make sure there are no yellow jackets nest along the course?
There weren't throughout the season. That is tricky. They come and go, right? So you just kind of hope there's not. So I didn't really specifically look for that, but we throughout the season we're listening for that.
Well, I'll tell the runners because they can appreciate it, but there was a meet at Maryville College back in the dark ages, and several runners from my school were so far behind they'd already pulled the stakes out, marking the end of the last turn. So they cut through the woods because they didn't know that they were supposed to go right and left. And they popped out of the woods swatting themselves, looking like insane people because they'd run right through a yellow jacket's nest,
no.
and they were swarmed by yellow jackets on the last 100 yards. It's a wonderful picture. It was in the Daily Times, and like I said, back in black and white in the dark ages.
True cross country for you.
There you go. But so Scott, what's the? I'll put you on the spot. You ready?
Yeah.
What's the attraction? Why do you want to go out there and torture yourself on a daily basis?
Well, it's where I found a lot of my personal growth. running has taught me so much about myself, and a lot of qualities that are necessary to run are also necessary to life. One of those things is discipline and having a positive mindset, the willingness to push through even when it's hard, when it hurts, but it's so rewarding at the end too. So to know that I can trust myself, to know that I'm strong enough to hurt and to get through it and to do it well, it's like, it means the world to me. So.
And last one for all three of you. What was it like coming back from state? Was the rest of the school excited for you about how you did? Or was it just kind of like, come back to class?
It was just come back to class.
It was come back to class?
Yeah.
Well, there was quite a send-off, though. Our
Okay,
send-off
send-off.
was next level awesome. So that maybe you felt that way, but I know the school is extremely proud of these kids. So many people have come up to me as I go through campus and just so congratulatory, so happy for what the kids have done. And it's the personal pride of the whole athletics program right now.
The send-off definitely made up for the return.
Well, when your send-off involves getting in the car for 8 hours, you need a good send-off.
Yeah.
No, but it was so cool. Everybody was lined up. There were pom-poms. Like, it was the whole school, like, cheering for everybody who went to state. The girls and I decorated the van for Mia Adkins because she qualified as an individual, and then we decorated it for the boys' team, too. So they got to ride to Memphis in a fully decked out bus, and we did our team cheer right before they left in front of the whole school, and it was really cool. So.
Nice.
So, guys, I'm going to assume that you got lots of looks as you went down the interstate from the decorations.
We did pass a
Did you
couple
get
other
waves?
schools.
Did you get waves? People like, hey.
My friend Avery was just asking people to honk on the side of the road. It's fun. But yeah, the 6-hour drive to Memphis was worth it because we'd all commit to hard work, and that's what we did. So, yeah.
Well, guys, I think, and gals, we'll say congratulations on a great season. I think you all have definitely come a long way, and it looks like a bright future for both programs. And we appreciate you getting up and coming in here on this Saturday after you spent last weekend getting back over here with that long drive back. But Mike, we'll go ahead and turn
before we get out of here, Marcus,
you got one?
I
Okay.
want to compliment them on their outfits here this morning.
They were pretty sweet.
They look great, and I do want to ask Coach, how do you recruit these kids? Do you go into the school? Do you watch them in PE class? How do you get involved with your student body there to get them interested in cross country? Because it's a grueling sport when you compare it to some of the other sports.
Part of some of the things my wife will sometimes tease me with is I'm a bit almost shameless with my ability to just walk up to folks and say, I don't know you very well, but I'm Coach Luke. Have you ever thought about running cross country?
There you go.
I think, and I've said this before, I think everybody at the school is either a cross country runner or a potential cross country runner.
There you go. And no NIL involved in this cross country program here at the school.
No, not yet.
Not
But
yet.
we're hoping. We're hoping.
Hey, it's great to have all of you on here this morning. Congratulations on your year and trip down there to state.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, it's time to turn the page. Up next is the Anderson Lumber Company Player of the Week segment. You're listening to the GoTeez Sports page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
The Roger L. Newman Company began in 1984 with a vision of providing Blount County with excellent heating and cooling service. Mr. Newman also wanted a real business. No gimmicks and no high-pressure sales. They just fix it or replace it. They want to stay within your budget and make you comfortable. Their motto still stands true today. Call us first, we'll be there. Call Roger L. Newman Company at 982-5446 or visit online at rogerlnewman.com. Cooler temperatures are approaching. Upgrade your furnace now for as little as $50 a month. For over 50 years and 3 generations, the people of Blount County have trusted Stevenson Tire with their vehicles and their families. Our mission has always been simple: to provide quality products at reasonable prices with exceptional customer service. Featuring tire products from Michelin, BF Goodrich, Uniroyal, Bridgestone, Firestone, and Yokohama, Stevenson Tire also offers alignment and brake services at affordable prices. Stevenson Tire Company, 2411 East Broadway Avenue in Maryville. Call 983-1621 or online at stevensontire.net.
Welcome back to the Bluetick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards along with the rest of our broadcast crew, and now it's time for the GoTeez Sports Page Player of the Week segment featuring Daily Times senior reporter Marcus Fitzsimmons, sponsored by Anderson Lumber Company, where quality service is always a priority, proudly serving Blount County for over 100 years. Marcus, it's kind of been cross-country morning.
Well, it was a big cross-country weekend last week.
Yeah.
Well, not really weekend. It was Thursday, Friday. But,
Yeah.
you know, the fact it took them a day to get back here afterwards, we can say it was the weekend. So we had Clayton-Bradley who's just left, and, you know, we talked about the Division II race. But we have another one that is a first we're going to go with. Lady Mountaineers finished as state runners-up. They were 11 spots ahead of Liberty Creek at the state championships last week, and same punt as before. But they've run on in here this morning and agreed to visit with us. And Coach Morgan, you got two of the Lady Mountaineers here with you this morning. Can you kind of give us a little bit of a intro? Who are these, and how big a part of the state run were they?
So to my right is senior A.J. Thomas, and then to her right is freshman Hadley Mitchie. Just been an integral part of our program, especially A.J. You know, she's been a part of our program for 4 years, and just to see her grow. She started out her first season, she made state kind of out of nowhere, and she finished 129th, and just over time chipped away and finished 5th. So that was huge for us, but they've been kind of back and forth all year, just working together. So they set the tone for the rest of our girls, and we're a really young team. So I've just been blessed to have AJ as a part of our program and to kind of be a mentor to Hadley, but not only just Hadley, but the rest of our team because we're so young.
And, you know, I've seen you at state a couple times, and I won the coin flip this year, so Josh got to go to Memphis, and I got to stay here. But the girls program has made some big strides in the last 3 or 4 years. Can you kind of talk about the development of how the team has kind of grown and gotten to the point that not only made state, but makes a runner-up finish there?
Well, when we were on the show last year, it's like I told you, you know, we moved down to AA, and that was going to help tremendously. But I knew from that moment on, I knew I had these great group of freshmen coming in, and with AJ coming back, I knew if the stars aligned, you know, we would get the job done. But I don't think they really knew that was really a possibility until, you know, right there at sectionals when they saw really how we ranked compared to the rest of the teams in the state. So obviously moving down helps a lot, but it's also just the buy-in. It's just getting our community and our culture just more involved in running and just understanding that, hey, this is a varsity sport. If you want to be successful at Heritage, like this is one of the avenues you can take to not only be successful, but successful at the state level. So it's taken time to get that buy-in, but just helping out with the middle school program and getting these runners moving on up to the high school. So, and then obviously Hadley moved here from Illinois, and she's been a tremendous help as well. So I think the stars aligned, us moving down, and then all these freshmen moving in, and then with AJ coming back, I knew the cards were there for us to get on the podium.
And I think it's worth mentioning, Marcus, if I can jump in.
Yeah, go ahead.
That Heritage only had one top 10 finish ever before last week, and it was in 2004. And these two girls blew that out of the water and finished top 10, both of them. So just making history all across Heritage High School last week at cross country.
And AJ's the veteran. We've had her here before, so we'll put her on the spot. And we'll give you the tough one. You've run at state before, but this was a totally new state course. What was it like? Was it better than what you all had up in Gallatin and Henderson, or was this a little bit more of a challenge?
Yeah, I mean, every state course isn't really the easiest, but this was definitely the easiest one they will run. I have ran. It's really, the hills are definitely not as bad as Hendersonville. I mean, it was hot, but not as hot as it was a couple years ago in Hendersonville. And I mean, it was just completely different with having a team there, not just an individual or not just with the guys team. So that was really a great experience.
That was my other question was, every time I've seen you up there, you know, the guys have the tent and you're kind of got one little corner over here. The girls had the tent this time. Was that a nice feeling to kind of switch it up on them?
Oh yeah, it definitely was. It was great. I mean, obviously the nerves were high to see what we could do, but it was great, and just we had a great time.
And just talk a little bit how you stayed with it. I mean, you've done multiple sports, and now you put this attention into it. But I guess how do you keep coming back year after year to see just how much I can punish myself on running through a field?
Yeah, I mean, I quit club in January, club soccer, and so I knew last track season, it was kind of, that was my main focus, but I didn't really have like a great breakthrough until the end. But this season, I know I put a lot of pressure on myself just to kind of like see what I could do, and I knew the team was going to be young, we were going to be fast, it was going to be different experience completely. But I still played high school soccer, but I tried to put a lot of focus on running, get all my runs in, get all the workouts, just be there with the team, for the team. So yeah, it was a little bit more difficult, more to handle this year, but it was fun.
Okay, and I'm going to struggle with it because I didn't ask before because I'm a bad host. Hadley?
Yes.
Okay, I did say it right. Okay, so the big question for you is, you got to run through the hills of East Tennessee. What a great change that must have been from Illinois.
Yeah.
What was that kind of like as far as learning to run and what it did to your conditioning?
It changed quite a bit, actually. I used to run around my baseball field for track, so it was really flat. And then I went over here, and my first summer practice, I had to run at the Greenway, and I thought it was really hilly, but after running there for like a long time, it got way easier. So that was definitely a challenge.
So you were a runner before, so coach didn't have to come strong arm you and recruit you. You were already interested in running?
Yeah.
So what got you into running to begin with?
I used to run with my mom a lot, and just like things like that. My friends also wanted me to run track, my parents as well, so I just did that, and ever since then I've just ran.
So coach, we already know that they're good. We got that. But for the coach, at the state, it's not like you can watch and be every single place that they are. You're kind of keeping tabs. But what was it like for you at the end, seeing where they were and knowing they had a chance to finish and to have really good races?
Well, it was just kind of just an exclamation point on our season. You know, I talked it up a lot when we first started our summer practices this year. I said it a lot throughout the year just so they knew that, hey, this is a reality. It was kind of hard to sell them on that at first, but, you know, when the job was done and kind of the dust settled, I think we all were kind of just relieved. A lot of emotions go into a race like that, and at state, emotions run high emotionally, mentally, physically. You're going to be drained, but, you know, just we were relieved, excited to be up on the podium, do something like he had said that our school's never done before, and not many schools in our county period have done before. So for us to set the tone and just our county to represent so well, I think it's just indicative of what's to come, and we're just really excited for the future. It sucks that AJ is going to be gone after this year, but I'm really blessed that she's been here for 4 years and just been able to set the tone and mentor these young girls.
Okay, so tell us, is it awkward being on that stage when they hand out the medals? Because when they've done that Jumbotron thing, it's like you're looking at yourself while you're getting the medal up on there at the same time. Is it kind of weird to be up on that stage?
I mean, not really. It was exciting because obviously it's my first podium finish, and I got to be up there twice with the team. So not really. It was just an exciting experience.
What about for you? Were you nervous going up there?
A little bit, yeah. Just seeing all those people, but I mean.
Because there's a lot of hurry up and wait at the awards ceremony where they get you all together and then you stand on the stairs for like 15 minutes while they try to figure out if somebody left something in the truck.
Yeah.
So you get up there. What was the feeling like when you all came up to get the runner-up trophy? Was that a moment?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was. worked for it all season, workouts, practice. It was just so exciting.
Coach, you had to get them back in the vehicle and get them out of there after this was over. I can imagine that was an adventure.
Yeah, well, not everyone rode back on the bus. Some people rode with their parents and went their separate ways, but we mostly all rode back on the bus together. But yeah, it was a bit of a haul. That was kind of something I was like trying to strategically plan, is make sure we got to the course and preview it. Some teams didn't even go the night before and run the course, but we really wanted to make sure we could visualize and kind of strategize what our plan was going to be going in and what the course was going to look like, and just get a feel for it. So yeah, it was a bit of a haul, but you know, you kind of just work with the cards you're dealt, and State's in Memphis, and that's kind of what we have to work with, and we'll work with it and go from there. So yeah, it was an adventure, but again, it's like I told the girls and our parents after we were up on the podium. I said, I really want to make sure this trip is something that y'all remember for the rest of your life, and I think they can confidently say, maybe not now, but you know, when they're older, like this is something that I can take with me and remember as a milestone.
So how long did it take them to settle down? Was it like Jackson, Nashville, Cookeville before it got quiet on that ride back, or did it just go all the way back, all the way to the Heritage campus?
Well, when we got back on the bus, we were pretty just drained. But on the way there, you know, everyone was kind of crazy. We're a young team. We've got some interesting personalities, so it keeps things interesting. But yeah, I guess by the time we got to the course, you know, we settled down a little bit and reined it in.
So, and there are two distinct types of teams in travel at this point that we have discovered. Are the Lady Mountaineers a we must stop at Buc-ee's team, or a we must not stop at Buc-ee's team?
Well, we did not stop at Buc-ee's. I mean, I'm not a Buc-ee's fan, really, but it's okay that we didn't stop there.
No? No, did anybody get upset that you did not stop at Buc-ee's?
Not this year.
Okay.
We had in the past few years we had gone to State, but logistically it just didn't work out this year. But we have in the past. But like I said, no one was like losing their mind over Buc-ee's.
And people think I'm not really doing a pitch for the gas station, Walmart, whatever it is. But I have found that hanging out for an hour at that particular location in Crossville, you can gauge when TSSAA events end, because everybody comes in wearing a shirt from that state championship, and it blows up for about a 15, 20-minute period there, which I always find entertaining. And Donnie's telling me I got to hurry. Okay.
No, you got 3 whole minutes.
That's an eternity for them. That's enough. They'll cover a mile in 3 minutes. So, AJ, what is any bittersweetness at this point, or is it still sinking in that was your last prep cross-country meet?
Yeah, for sure. It is pretty bittersweet, just because, I mean, it was my first time with, like, the team, and it was really just, I have a great time with these girls. I love them. They're all young, but I'm, like, their mentor for them. But, I mean, I'm excited to see what they do, what we can do in track season, indoor season as well. So it's just an exciting time, but it is a little bit bittersweet.
So with you move on. What was it like with all, I guess, the difference with having a whole group, a young group, what was the difference like compared to past seasons?
Yeah, I mean, I actually got to, at State this year, I actually got to room with a teammate. So that was fun, instead of just like my parents being the only girl. But I mean, just this season, like me and Hadley, we got to work together some races. We got to lead some races. That was really a fun experience, just being there. I mean, someone said one race, like, iron sharpens iron. And I know we talked about it after the race. That was like in our head the whole time. And so that was just like, it was kind of a motto we had ever since then. And so that was fun to work together and listen to that.
Hadley, what was it like on the other end of that spectrum? You're the freshman coming in and you're running strong. What's it kind of like being in that position?
It was kind of crazy at the start of the year, because like we were a young team and I didn't really know like what we had like in store for us quite yet. But like AJ said, like we worked together, and that first race, that was really fun actually, and I got to take a peek at what the season would be like, and ever since then I knew this was going to be a great season.
Coach, I appreciate you bringing him in, and congratulations on a great season. I'm sure it was fun to put that plaque into the trophy case at Heritage. We wish you the best going forward. I hope we'll see you again soon. Maybe we can talk about distance in the spring a little bit. But again, thanks for getting up and coming in here on Saturday morning since you were driving after a long day last weekend. But Mike, we'll go ahead and take a quick turn to the page.
Okay, Mark, it's time for a break, and when we return, it's the Boyd Sports Spotlight. You're listening to the GoTeez Sports page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
For over 90 years, Anderson Lumber Company in Alcoa.
Yeah,
proudly served and
congratulations
supported our
on your
local
great
community.
season.
Locally owned, so the money made here stays here. Whether you're renovating a kitchen, bath, new floors, doors, or windows, Anderson Lumber is so much more than a lumber store and can take care of you from design to install. We welcome you to visit Anderson Lumber in Alcoa for all your home's needs, or shop over 67,000 items online at AndersonLumberCompany.com.
All right,
Anderson
sports
Lumber
headlines on
since
deck.
1925.
All right. Okay, you're up.
Welcome back to the Bluetick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards, and it's time for the Boyd's Sports Spotlight segment. And Donnie Moore, for the first time in 3 weeks or so.
Oh, wow.
You're up, buddy.
Thank you, my
All right.
friend. It is time for our weekly sports headlines segment, brought to you, as always, by our friends at Fast Sign. Well, the latest women's college basketball power rankings have dropped this week, and this is per CBS Sports. I'm going to go through them from 10 to 1, power rankings. Number 10, coming in at number 10, the Lady Vols of Tennessee. Number 9, Baylor. Number 8, Oklahoma. Number 7, North Carolina State. Number 6, University of Southern California. Number 5, LSU. Number 4, UCLA. Number 3, Texas. Number 2, South Carolina. And got any guesses as to number
Connecticut.
1? You're right, exactly right.
There's a lot of familiar names in there, Donnie.
You better believe it.
Yeah.
Sure are. But that's your top 10 power rankings per CBS Sports. The Major League Baseball MVP awards have been selected this week. MVP, most valuable player for the American League, is Aaron Judge of the New York Yankees. Judge led Major League Baseball in batting average, on-base percentage, and slugging percentage, and is a 3-time winner of the award. In the National League, a very familiar name, Shohei Ohtani matched Barry Bonds as the second player in Major League Baseball history to win 4 MVP honors. Man, he's good.
He's the real deal.
He sure is.
And what makes him so special is he's just not only a great hitter, he's a pitcher.
Yeah, he's
And a good pitcher,
I
too.
mean, yeah. Yeah.
No kidding. Well, Florida State University freshman footballer Ethan Pritchard was released from a rehabilitation facility in Jacksonville on Thursday and able to be at home for the first time since an August 31st shooting left him critically injured. Pritchard had been in rehab for over a month since his October 9th release from Tallahassee Memorial Hospital, and in an interview, Pritchard noted that he recalls everything that occurred leading up to the shooting and that his ultimate goal is to return to the gridiron. So I hope he does. Good luck, Donnie. Good luck. Legendary 16-time NHRA funny car world champion John Force will retire after 4 decades of racing. Force, who is 76 years old, confirmed during a media luncheon at his race shop in Yorba Linda, California on Thursday that he is set to retire as a driver. Force began his career in 1970, and in addition to his 16 NHRA funny car titles, he has picked up 157 event wins, 269 final round appearances, and 1,460 round wins in competition.
Yeah, well, he had the bad accident.
Yeah, he did.
You know, and
Yeah.
I think that pretty well.
That pretty much.
I think that sealed the deal.
Yeah. I
What
think you're right.
classifies a funny car?
Funny cars have very light fiberglass bodies that you can work on. They don't have hoods. You just raise the whole body and work on the engine. And they're similar to production cars, but they're enough different looking that they call them funny cars.
They got the back jacked up on them, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Sure do.
They throw flames out.
Oh boy, do they ever? Do they ever?
Well, the other thing is if 14 clowns can get out of the back seat of it.
There you go.
It counts
Yeah,
as a
that's
funny
where it
car.
got its name. Yeah, funny car. There
Gotcha.
you go, Marcus.
All right, on this day in sports, November 15th, 1946, Ted Williams wins the American League MVP award. 1960, Lakers center Elgin Baylor scores 71 points versus the New York Knicks. Boy, he was a player, wasn't he?
Yeah, he took over for Lonnie, didn't
Yeah,
he?
he
For
did.
the MVP in the Washington, D.C. area. Remember, Lonnie
in
used
the
to
high
say
school league.
he was the best player in Washington, D.C., Lonnie, and then
Yeah.
Elgin came along.
Elgin came along.
And they forgot all about Lonnie.
They sure did, didn't they? On this date in 1961, Yanks outfielder Roger Maris is voted the American League MVP. 1962, the next year, Dodgers pitcher Don Drysdale wins the Cy Young Award. Man, Drysdale was a great one, wasn't
he could throw that ball, couldn't he?
Mm-hmm.
You remember that story about Walter Alston coming out and telling Drysdale, he wanted to put Stan Musial on, and so Drysdale just sort of looked at him, and he rears back and throws the first pitch and hits Musial right in the back. And Alston Alston come out there and said, "Hey, I told you to walk him. What are you doing?" He says, "Well, I wasn't going to waste all my pitches on him." So just hit him in the back.
Make him earn it.
It all ended up on first base anyway, so
On this date in 1965, a fellow by the name of Craig Breedlove sets the land speed record of 600.601 miles per hour.
Out there in the salt flats.
On the salt flats and Bonneville salt flats. Yep.
What's the name of that car? Was it the Bluebird or something? It's been a while back.
Yeah, it has been. I'll look that up. I'm not. That sounds good. 1967, Red Sox outfielder Carl Yastrzemski wins the American League MVP award.
Boy, those Red Sox went through a series of some pretty good hitters.
They
didn't
sure
they?
did.
They went from Ted Williams to Yastrzemski, and both those guys were left-handed hitters.
Oh yeah, yeah, they could hit. They could hit it. No kidding. 1978, Pirates outfielder Dave Parker wins the National League MVP. Remember Dave? Good player. 1980, the 30th NASCAR Sprint Cup was won by none other than Dale Earnhardt. He won it in 1980. 1989, Royals' Brett Saberhagen wins the American League Cy Young Award. 1992, the 42nd NASCAR Sprint Cup was won by Alan Kulwicki. Alan Kulwicki, good driver. 2020, British Mercedes driver Lewis Hamilton clinches his record-tying 7th Formula One title.
Yeah,
Man,
he's still going. He's still going.
He sure is.
Not having as much success as he had back there with Mercedes. He switched over to Ferrari.
Right.
So.
We got a couple of birthdays that happened on this day. November 15th, 1981, Mexican golfer Lorena Ochoa. She is 44 years old today. Won the British Open in 07. Good golfer. 1995, on this day born, Carl Anthony Towns, American basketball center, #1 draft pick of the Minnesota Timberwolves in 2015, born in Edison, New Jersey. A couple of deaths to speak of right here. In 1990, died on this day, Alydar, American racehorse, born in 1975.
Alydar.
Yeah. And then in 2007, died on this day, Joe Nuxhall.
Knuckleballer.
Yeah, Joe Nuxhall.
Yeah, he's a knuckleball
Pitcher and sportscaster. He was the youngest Major League Baseball player ever at 15 years and 316 days.
Played for the Cincinnati Reds, didn't he?
I think he did.
Could you imagine getting struck out by a 15-year-old
No
in
kidding.
the MLB?
Oh, goodness.
Surely they wouldn't let you live that one down in the
You
locker room.
grew up fast back in those days.
Yeah, had to.
You know,
didn't
Bob Feller, you know, he's another one that went in the major
Yeah.
leagues at a really young age.
he? Yeah. Nuxie died at 79 years of age. Well, that's it for this week's Sports Headlines, brought to you, as always, by Fast Signs. Back to you, Gunner.
This is Mike Edwards, and I'm here with sports page veteran Donnie Moore and longtime sports writer Marcus Fitzsimmons and Daily Times sports writer Caleb Giroux. Let's talk some SEC football. We got some huge games.
Yeah,
I mean, huge games. Caleb, I'm going to start with you. Oklahoma's at Alabama today. Alabama's a 6-point favorite or their rounds, 3:30 on ABC. Oklahoma's got 2 losses, and Bama's just got the 1 loss. And for Bama, you know, the playoff spots on the road, the playoff seedings on at stake, the SEC championships on the table.
Yeah.
And for Oklahoma, they're playing for their playoff life pretty much.
They sure
What you
are.
I mean, it doesn't get much better than that, does it?
No, and what you didn't mention either is Alabama quarterback Ty Simpson is on his way to a Heisman Trophy if he keeps playing the way he's been. And Oklahoma's defense is really good. We saw it when they played Tennessee, and they've got good numbers. So a good performance from him against a good defense could help bolster his resume. But also, you know, both teams are fighting for a playoff spot. It might be an elimination game for Oklahoma, but if the Sooners can pull this one out, I mean, that's almost a lock for a playoff spot at that point, even if they do
Yeah.
get a third loss.
Yeah, I was looking at Oklahoma, but you know, they've still got work to do. They've got Missouri at home and they got LSU at home, but both of them are at home after this one. So you know, it looks to me like if they can pull this off, I think the game at Tennessee with that atmosphere and that crowd, Neyland Stadium, and they were off. I think Oklahoma was off last week, so yeah, they were off. So I think that game at Tennessee, Marcus, I think it had to prepare them a little bit for the going down to Tuscaloosa today. Don't you think?
Oh, and it prepares them for the environment.
Yeah.
And I don't think you can say Alabama's going to throw a better offense at them, but this could be. I mean, this could be a 9-7 game. You know, it really could be with these two defenses.
Yeah, could be. Alabama last week they beat I think LSU 20-6, somewhere in that category. Weren't really impressive, so to speak. You know, that game was pretty much in jeopardy up until in the fourth quarter. Caleb.
Yeah, that was a weird game because LSU's offense was awful the entire game, Mike. And like Marcus just mentioned, Alabama's defense is such a good unit. Like they've been, I feel like anytime you talk about Alabama, that it kept them in that game. And even while their offense struggled, it you know, was enough time to come around. But yeah, I think the story of that one is LSU's offense is awful. Garrett Nussmeier for LSU, I'm sure you'll mention them here in a second. He's out today, so you'll see more backup quarterback. I mean, they benched their quarterback who's playing so bad against Alabama.
Yeah.
So I think that Alabama defense is a stout unit, and their offense at times looks explosive, at times it doesn't. I think their run game is questionable, but Ty Simpson out of Westview is a really good quarterback.
Yeah. Texas is at Georgia today, and just about everything you could say about Oklahoma and Alabama, you could come right back and say the same thing about this Texas-Georgia game on what everybody's playing for, huh?
Yeah. Texas is a weird one because they've looked so bad this year at times, but they're still in the mix.
Still in the mix.
And if they win today, I think they'd be firmly in the mix, and it would be quite a win. But Texas has been one of the, I mean, I think there's nothing more people have been opinionated about besides this Texas football team.
Yeah.
It feels like everybody feels strongly one way or the other about where they should be and where Arch Manning should be, and if we should be talking about Arch Manning, if he should be in the conversation, if Texas should be going to the playoffs, all of this stuff. And I think today is really a game for them to either completely fall out of the conversation or to, you know, cement themselves among the top teams.
Georgia comes in as a 6.5-point favorite thereabouts. That game's at 7:30 on ABC. Georgia has been one of these teams that's been on the ropes several times this year, Caleb. They've been on the ropes, but always find a way to win a game.
Yeah.
You know, and I like those teams. You know, when you're looking at the playoffs and you're looking at the conference championship game and so forth, I like those teams that have found a way to win, you know? It goes a long way. It goes a long way when you get down to nut cracking time, you know, so to speak.
Yeah, it's I mean, that's how you win championships.
Yeah.
And especially, you know, I think the college football committee said they're doing the eye test as part of their rankings this year. But how much can you actually watch all of these games? So I think whether you win by 3 or win by 17, I mean, a win's a win.
If I'm the committee, I'm looking at them like, you know what? It doesn't matter who we match them up with. They will play down or up to whoever we put them with and win by 3 in the fourth quarter. ESPN must have literally drawn this up as a script. Like, this is how we want these games to go. Here you go, Kirby.
Yeah. Florida is at Ole Miss, and if my memory serves me correctly, I believe it was a Florida team last year down at Gainesville that knocked Ole Miss out of the playoffs by beating them by a touchdown down there. And the quarterback there is at Dart. I think Dart.
Jackson Dart was
quarterback here at Ole Miss had a horrendous game down there. So now here's Florida in all kinds of disarray. Quarterback not playing well, lost their coach. They're rolling into Ole Miss, and Ole Miss is nationally ranked, 11.5-point favorite. Ole Miss has just lost one game. The game's at 7 o'clock on ESPN. Anybody liking Florida today, or are they just going to take the day off and just start? They've probably spent the whole week practicing for Tennessee, don't you guess? I'd say they haven't. Yeah. I'd say they haven't even worked on Ole Miss.
I mean, wouldn't it be nice of Lane Kiffin to hand his future school a win today?
Yeah. Yeah, there's been a lot of talk about that.
I'm sure he'll have some questions to answer after the game.
Yeah, if he doesn't come out and win, there'll be a lot of questions.
Oh, yeah.
Asked.
Well, can you hire the coach that your interim head coach beat the year before?
Yeah.
But it's Lane Kiffin. Everybody wants Lane Kiffin.
Yeah.
I just want to see that squirrel run across the field and get eaten by an alligator.
Yeah. Ole Miss. Listen. Ole Miss is 9-1, guys. If they beat Florida today, they're at Mississippi State. Of course, I know that's a brutal rivalry, and Mississippi State has got a better squad and better players because of the transfer portal, and they've played some people pretty tough, this year. But still, you got to look at those two games. As far as I'm concerned, Ole Miss is in the playoffs, guys.
I think so, too.
I think they're in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, they were going to be last year before the loss to Kentucky, I believe, as well. It was just a stinker on the road.
Yeah.
Well,
they're not on the road.
You still got a stumbling block out there because two of these teams are going to have to play in the SEC championship game.
Yeah.
But do you eliminate a team for the SEC championship?
We're going to go right back down that road because, whoever doesn't have to go play is probably going to end up with a better seed than whoever loses that game after they get to go play.
Yeah. Well, Lane Kiffin has already said that he doesn't like that championship game. He doesn't like it. He says it only hurts you if you lose it. So, anyway, and Kiffin's not wrong. He's really ready to open that door and say after you. Yeah. Hey, South Carolina, who's had really a disappointing season, Caleb, because the Gamecocks had a lot of high expectations going in. They're 3-6 and 1-6. And they're at Texas A&M today, and A&M's 9-0 and 6-0. A&M's a big 17.5-point favorite. That game's at 12 noon on ESPN, and Texas A&M just keeps rolling.
Texas A&M and Marcel Reed look really good, and that defense. What I like about Texas A&M, Mike, is there's no real star power on that team. Marcel Reed, everybody knows, but you probably couldn't name more than one. I can't name more than one of their wide receivers, and I bet a lot of people couldn't name one. But you know what? They go out every Saturday, and they score 30 points, and they win the game.
Exactly.
And I think that's really rare these days in college football, but it's a testament to A&M that they've got 11 good players on each side of the football instead of, one or two stars and supporters around them.
Yeah. In other SEC games, Arkansas is at LSU. Mississippi State is at Missouri, and Missouri, I think, has lost the last 2 weeks. So they're out of any talk as far as the playoffs are concerned. And of course, New Mexico State is at Tennessee today, and in Tennessee Tech, Caleb, we talked about them last week.
Best team in Tennessee, right?
They're up. Yeah, they're up at Kentucky. Kentucky 4-5 and 2-5. Kentucky's a 21.5-point favorite, but Tennessee Tech takes that 10-0 record up there, and I don't even want to talk about if Mark Stoops doesn't win this game today against Tennessee Tech. what's going to be left of him on Monday morning.
We need to get Donnie's opinion on who the best team in Tennessee is.
Yeah, we've talked about that.
Is it the Golden Eagles?
Is it Tennessee Tech? Is it Vanderbilt? Is it Memphis? Or is it Tennessee?
I think if you lined up Tennessee Tech head to head with Vandy would win that game going away. I think Vandy's the best team.
You think Vandy's the best team?
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, we're gonna.
I will say this:
the most dynamic.
I will not fall out of the chair if Tennessee Tech were to actually spoil that game and beat Kentucky.
I'd love that.
But I would actually pull that back up on ESPN and watch it at 3 o'clock in the morning just to watch it happen live.
Yeah.
just to see it.
Now I got told by a Tennessee Tech alum this week that Tennessee Tech has more to play for this year than Kentucky, and he said that if Kentucky goes up early, Tennessee Tech might be the team that pulls the starters, unless the backups go, because they're trying to get their first conference championship and get a good seeding.
And they have playoff hope.
Exactly, they've got that full bracket fun playoffs that they're trying to make. And I thought that was a funny way to look at it, that you're going into Kentucky, Tennessee Tech, and Tennessee Tech is the team that's going to pull their starters for a playoff.
Wow.
Or for the postseason.
Caleb, I'm looking at these SEC standings and talking about the SEC championship game. Texas A&M has got South Carolina today at home. They play Samford at home, and then they've got Texas, to end the season. So, they're looking. Texas is going to be their hurdle, to get through and get into that championship game. Alabama, they've got Oklahoma today. They got Eastern Illinois. Both of those games are at home, and then they've got Auburn on the road. I'm saying if Alabama wins today, I'm saying they're in the SEC championship game. What do you think?
I agree.
I mean, I think that's a fairly workable road right there. Oklahoma at home, Eastern Illinois at home, and Auburn on the road. And I know you can kind of throw out the books when Auburn and Alabama get together, but the way Auburn's struggling right now,
they're struggling mightily.
Yeah, I think Alabama's in. Georgia has Texas today. Their road's a little tougher. Georgia's got Texas today. They got Charlotte, both of those games at home. And then they've got Georgia Tech in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. So they've got Texas and Georgia Tech, so they've got some work to do.
Yeah.
As far as the playoffs go.
Georgia Tech is the one I kind of worry about on that list.
Yeah.
Because that's a game, like you mentioned, that can get a little hairy. And Haynes King he is playing his best football.
Ole Miss at 5-1 in the league. They've got Florida at home today, and they've got Mississippi State. So they look good as far as the playoff situation goes, and they're going to need some help,
I'm sure,
as far as getting in the SEC championship game.
Ole Miss can't be too thrilled that their bye week is the second to last week of the season.
Yeah.
You get a bye to prepare for Mississippi State.
Yes, you do. It's the Egg Bowl. And let's face it, there have been Ole Miss teams that have had bowl games taken away from them because they went into that Egg Bowl and lost.
They had the guy who acted like he was a dog peeing on the field.
I mean,
messed up their whole season.
That game can make Thanksgiving weekend interesting.
Texas at 4-1 in the league. They've got Georgia away today, Arkansas at home, and Texas A&M at home. So they've got
I
work.
don't think they can do it.
They've got work. I don't either. Okay. That all being said, who do you like in the championship game, in the SEC championship game? I like Texas A&M and Alabama, but I don't know. What do you
I think
think?
A&M will run the table and win the SEC championship.
I would not be surprised if that did.
But now,
happen.
as long as Alabama doesn't take a loss, they have that tiebreaker over Georgia.
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
So they would be, as long as they.
That's correct. So
if they get through today, I think they'll be all right.
Texas and Alabama control their own destiny as far as the SEC championship.
Would the SEC not be better off if they dubbed Texas A&M to play in the championship game and then invited Notre Dame to come down and play as a rematch?
Nice. There we go.
Because think about it, Texas A&M pulls it off again, and you get 5 SEC teams in the playoffs.
Yeah,
but
what the SEC is really rooting
with
for.
the championship game, you might end up with 4 because of what you're going to do.
What the SEC really wants is they want Oklahoma to beat Alabama today, so Oklahoma has to stay in the mix, and then you get Texas to beat somebody, and then some. They want everybody with 2 losses, and oh man, the SEC is the best team in the league. We got to have 7 teams in.
I'm looking at this college football playoff rankings, We got Ohio State at 9-0, Indiana's 10-0, Texas A&M 9-0, Alabama 8-1, Georgia 8-1, Texas Tech 9-1, Ole Miss 9-1, Oregon 8-1. Those top 8 teams are either unbeaten or they have one loss. So that means there's going to be 4 spots. If all that holds serve, which I don't think it's going to hold serve, but if it was to hold serve, you'd have 4 spots open. And there's a slew of teams out there right now, and I know it's going to, probably play out, but you got those four slots open, and that's all that's going to be left. I don't know if all these 2-loss teams can survive. I'm just thinking that there's probably going to be somebody in there with 3 losses. I mean, I don't know.
I think it'll depend, too, on who has good wins. Because all these teams, it's like the Tennessee argument. Like Tennessee, if they finish 9-3, for example, they would have no good wins.
No,
and you can't put a playoff team in.
Well, if they beat Vanderbilt. They beat Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's a ranked team.
If you beat Vanderbilt, beat Vanderbilt, your best win is at home against the number 14 team.
That's your best win of the season.
That's it.
That's it. You've played the whole year. You've played the whole year, and your whole year has come down to a win against Vanderbilt.
Yep. I think that you have to have a team in the playoff that has good wins, not good losses. Like you can't. Your playoff resume can't be, well, we lost to 3 other playoff teams. Well, then why would you go in the playoff? You're not going to beat the playoff teams. So I think if it's a 3-loss team making it in, they got to have some big wins somewhere. You can't just beat the teams you're supposed to beat and make the playoff.
Well, but what about this? Explain to me. I'm all confused. Do they pick the best 12 teams, or is this you take the Power 4 conference champions? I mean, you could have an ACC team that wins the ACC with 3 losses. Do they automatically get into the playoffs? Help me out here.
I guess they do.
Well, the champions do still have the auto, right? For the Power 4.
Well, that's the way
I'm pretty sure they have an auto bid, but they no longer have the auto buy.
Right.
And you also have to mix in the group of 5 team.
You got 4 automatic qualifiers, Power 4, and then you've got the qualifier, the highest rank from the other schools.
If they are in the top 25.
If they're not in the top 25, can you leave them out?
Yes.
You can leave them out. Okay, let me
not ranked.
Let me throw out a crazy scenario here.
Yeah, it's the 5 conference champions ranked highest by the selection committee.
I'm going to throw a crazy scenario out here. Let's say that none of those teams qualified, and Pittsburgh upsets Notre Dame today, and Notre Dame they finish the year at 9-3, and let's say they lose a close game to Pittsburgh today. They will have, and I know you're not big on this, but they lost a 3-point game to Miami early in the year, who's ranked. They lost a 1-point game to Texas A&M on a hold that wasn't called and a pass interference in the end zone that was probably a bad call. And if they lose to Pittsburgh today, they'll have 3 losses. Would the committee sit in there and think, and they've got a pretty good football team, would they look and say, okay, we don't have a power, anybody in that below the Power 4 to put a team in here? Notre Dame's an independent. Let's put Notre Dame in at 9-3 because we're going to have to pick a 9-3 team anyway. Because they're an independent, would they fit that mold of being not a Power 4 school and fill that eligibility for the playoff? I'm just throwing that out there.
I think isn't there a Notre Dame exception, Power 4 plus?
Yeah, Notre Dame is considered because the group of 5 team, you have to be in the group of 5, which is still conferences. So I don't think Notre Dame could sneak in that way. But it's been a conversation because Notre Dame gets a ton of money by not being in a conference, but they don't get the automatic bid when they need it.
Yeah,
it'll end up coming down to, Mike, if we're getting 9-3 teams in, is Notre Dame a better 9-3 team than, I don't know, Vanderbilt?
And they're big, and when you're talking about quality wins, the only quality win right now that Notre Dame's got is Southern California, ranked 17th in the country. That's their best win.
That's it.
That's their best win. Yeah. So they beat a Navy team that had only lost 1 game, but that's Navy.
Right.
I mean, they're not quite up to par with some of these other
Yeah,
people.
'cause
So
in your scenario, they lose to Pittsburgh, which is the only other ranked team they play since A&M.
That's right.
And Miami.
That's right.
So they lose to every ranked team besides Southern
Exactly.
California.
Exactly.
And I think
And the other teams they play are
you
not
look
even
how
close.
the chaos could work out in the SEC, but you've also got, it's not like the Big Ten has a free ride here, because what do you do if Ohio State loses one of its last 2 games again and ends up playing an undefeated Indiana team? So what happens if Ohio State were to pick up 2 losses? Are they still?
I think Ohio State, Indiana, and Oregon are in the playoffs.
I'm just wondering. And you also get this thing of who do you put in there?
Indiana's, not to interrupt you, but Indiana's got a lock. I mean, they got Wisconsin at home today. They're a 28.5-point favorite, and they got Purdue and West Lafayette. I think in 2 weeks they're in the playoffs.
I think they are, but what I mean is they could knock somebody out of that Big Ten championship game if they were to win the Big Ten championship over an Ohio State team that loses to Michigan.
Yeah, that's true. But then you got the argument. Well, they got to the Big Ten championship game. They got to the championship game with no losses or one loss.
But that changes them from hosting to traveling to Texas A&M.
Right.
But traditionally, the committee has always thought about conference championship games as it can help you, but it can't hurt you. But if it starts hurting teams, like if we see what's going to happen is if the committee this year, a 1-loss team loses a championship game, goes to 2 losses, doesn't host, why would teams ever play a championship game again?
That's why I think they're done. I think
you either have to make the championship game not matter, or it's going to get injured.
It's going to be like the NCAA tournament was when the SEC dropped the basketball tournament because of the chaos it created and let the regular season standings carry who is going to be champion.
There's also another Big Ten team that you should keep a little bit of an eye on that's been under the radar, and that's Southern California, ranked at number 17. They're 7-2, and they're probably going to win out, which would make them 10-2. So they could end up being in the conversation for some of these.
Yeah, they could.
Playoff
then you get
spots.
4 Big Ten teams in.
Yeah, and then you get 4.
Oh, I think Nico will take care of them on Thanksgiving weekend.
Nico's
Well,
not playing.
he's out today with a
He's
concussion.
not playing against Ohio State today. That's probably a good thing for Nico that he's not playing at Ohio.
He always seems to get a concussion around Ohio State.
But I think when you look at this, playoff
residual.
situation right now,
He got it 11 months ago, but it's just now showing up.
when you look at this playoff situation right now, you're thinking, and I know it's still a couple of weeks early, but you're thinking, boy, the committee's going to they're going to have some decisions to make here. And then there's going to be that old argument: do you have the 12 best teams in here or not? Do you have the 12? And then there's going to be the talk, well, we need 16 teams.
They should have done 16 to begin with. I said
that'll help solve part of the problem. But, yeah, there's a real quagmire, with a lot of 2-loss teams right now from what I'm seeing. Donnie, are we ready to go to break?
We are.
Hey, it's time for a break. When we return, we'll be back to close out today's show. You're listening to the GoTeez Sports page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
The Roger L. Newman Company began in 1984 with a vision of providing Blount County with excellent heating and cooling service. Mr. Newman also wanted a real business. No gimmicks and no high-pressure sales. They just fix it or replace it. They want to stay within your budget and make you comfortable. Their motto still stands true today. Call us first, we'll be there. Call Roger L. Newman Company at 982-5446 or visit online at rogerlnewman.com. Cooler temperatures are approaching. Upgrade your furnace now for as little as $50 a month. For over 50 years and 3 generations, the people of Blount County have trusted Stevenson Tire with their vehicles and their families. Our mission has always been simple: to provide quality products at reasonable prices with exceptional customer service. Featuring tire products from Michelin, BF Goodrich, Uniroyal, Bridgestone, Firestone, and Yokohama, Stevenson Tire also offers alignment and brake services at affordable prices. Stevenson Tire Company, 2411 East Broadway Avenue in Maryville. Call 983-1621 or online at stevensontire.net.
Welcome back to the Bluetick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards, the Greenfield Gunner, and I'm here along with Donnie Moore and Marcus Fitzsimmons and Caleb Giroux. And looking at some of these national games today, and I want to mention a game I watched last week. I don't know if any of you saw this game, the Indiana-Penn State game last week.
I got to see part of it.
I watched the end.
What an absolute finish to that football game.
Great,
Caleb, was that unbelievable? And
what a catch!
And when we talk about Heisman Trophy people in the running, you gotta look at that Indiana quarterback there with the Hoosiers, and he's done an outstanding job. And boy, that last drive, Penn State thought they had the upset. The announcers thought they had the upset.
Yeah.
They were gearing up for the upset, and then they all got let down by a fabulous catch in the end zone. How in the world did that guy come down with the football in the end zone? Unbelievable.
Got to mention too the ref in perfect position, made the right call.
Oh my gosh, he was right there on the. He was looking at his feet. He was looking. There was just it was an unbelievable catch, an unbelievable call. And
I don't think you see officials
finish.
Doing their job perfectly like that much anymore.
And you know what? I've watched Indiana play a lot this year. And of course, when I was growing up, I saw them play, and they were just. I mean, they were just. It was just. Let's wait on basketball season. They just never were very good in football. And here they are, and you say, well, they don't play anybody. I hear that quite a bit. They don't play anybody. They're in the Big Ten and so forth. But they did go out and they beat Oregon, and even with Penn State. They still had a lot of their players. Their quarterback was hurt at Penn State, but they still went up there and took care of business. But Caleb, if you go 24-0 in any league you're in, you got yourself a pretty good football program,
no
and
doubt.
you got a pretty good coach up there in Signetti.
And they've
there's
signed
not
an
many
extension.
people. There's not many people that can run the regular season table 2 years in a row like that, rebuilding the program. And he was in a rebuild there at Indiana.
That's true.
So
I don't even know if you want to say a rebuild. It's probably just a build.
Well, he brought a lot of players from James Madison. You know where he was
Yeah,
at
but
that first year.
Indiana's never been a real football school.
No.
He's made it into a football school.
No,
now.
the only time I ever remember them being a real great success was in '67 when they went to the Rose Bowl and played Southern California out there in the Rose Bowl, and they didn't come out of that one. But it's been a long time. It's kind of refreshing, and of course they've got the fever down there, and they're building onto their stadium, and parking fees have gone up down there. You can't park your car for free anymore. It's costing you money to park your car there. But they've got the fever for sure. I hope it works out where Indiana and Ohio State play in the Big Ten championship game there in Indianapolis. But we'll see how it goes. But they got Wisconsin today at home, and Wisconsin's starting a freshman quarterback. And I know they're a little bit high. Fickle, the coach up there, he's coming back. They've given him a word of encouragement, so to speak, and they beat Washington at home, a ranked Washington team last week. So they're coming in with a little bit of momentum, but we'll see how it goes there in Bloomington today. Notre Dame's at Pittsburgh. Both of these teams are 7-2. Any playoff hopes? They have both got to come out of this game today. Notre Dame's ranked number 9. Pittsburgh ranked the 22nd. Caleb, I've kind of got this. I've kind of got this on the upset alert.
Really?
How are you feeling about it?
I didn't have it on the upset alert. Why is it on the?
Well, who are you picking? You like the Irish today?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. It doesn't feel like it. We just talked about how they're trying to make the playoffs at 9-3. I don't think. But isn't College Game Day there today too?
Yeah,
so maybe there's the College Game Day buff, and
I've seen
but it feels like a game that
I've seen a lot of Notre Dame Pittsburgh football games, and I'm telling you, Pittsburgh's one of those schools that can get in Notre Dame's side.
Yeah.
Especially now, this is going way back. When Johnny Majors was there. Of course, he had a guy named Torty Dorset that didn't hurt anything those years, but they took care of Notre Dame. But this is always it's kind of a rivalry game, and there's a lot at stake here. And
Notre Dame has one of the best running backs in college football, and things go good when they hand him the ball.
Yeah.
So I think they need to hand him the football today.
Yeah, and Notre Dame's got a young quarterback that's played real well all year long, but. We'll see how that comes out. I think this is the game for Notre Dame. When you talk about the games, Notre Dame wins today. They got Syracuse at home next week, and they got Stanford left on their schedule. So they win today. They're
the last resistance.
I think they're in the playoffs. This is their last resistance today as far as the playoffs go. I want to mention a game down here, Northwestern and Michigan. Donnie, are playing in Wrigley Field.
I saw that.
Yeah.
What a historic place to play football.
They are playing in Wrigley Field, and boy, this is really going a long ways back, but does anybody here remember when the Chicago Bears played all their games in Wrigley Field?
Yeah, I do.
I guess it's just me and Donnie. But
don't
it goes
remember.
back to the days of Gale Sayers.
Mm-hmm.
Sayers and Piccolo and Ditka.
Yes.
Bill Wade that used to play it. He
Goodness.
played at Vanderbilt and went on.
Did
to
they
play
have
at
the
Chicago.
did they have the forward pass when they were playing at Wrigley?
Oh, listen, that's hadn't been all that long ago. 50 years ago or so.
Well, what
not
they did
50 or
was-
60 years ago. That's just that's not long ago. is it?
Drop in the bucket.
When baseball season was over, they took the leather gloves and then tied them on their heads as helmets for
Yeah.
football season.
You know what I remember about
Money was low.
You know what I remember about the Bears playing at Wrigley was the touchdown. The end of the end zone was right next to the ivy wall, and you'd be surprised how many guys ran into that. And there was no padding. It was just
Absolutely
it was
not.
just the ivy, and of course the ivy was dead. It was wintertime, and you just run in there. They didn't have any padding or anything, and I mean that end line was right next to the wall.
Yeah,
But
there's some pretty good hits taken right there.
God, like hockey, run them into the wall.
They played in there for forever and ever and ever. In fact, they played the New York Giants in there way back when Y.E. Tittle was quarterbacking, and they played that
Former LSU
they
Tiger.
played that championship game. I don't know if my mind serves me right or not, but 1961 maybe, somewhere around in there. And they played that
sounds
championship
close.
game in Wrigley Field, the
Yeah.
NFL championship game.
Wow.
But that's kind of interesting that they're back in there today. And
Well, Northwestern doesn't have a football stadium. They're playing at the practice facility.
no, they got bleachers up.
Yeah, they got the practice facility.
But you know
with
what?
The,
They're
with the
not
air off the
they're
lake.
not having a bad year, as years go.
Yeah.
With all that going on, they're having a fairly decent year. I was going to mention TCU, 6-3.
Frogs.
Is at BYU, and BYU is ranked number 12 in the country, and they're still in the playoff hunt, but they're only a 3-point favorite today. So, Caleb, that's a big game for BYU, and they're coming off of a loss last week. Texas Tech, I believe, took care of them pretty handily.
They're clinging to playoff hopes, too.
Yeah. Virginia and Duke play today. Virginia is number 19, and they're one of these 8-2 teams. And Duke's at 5-4, but they've got Duke as a 3.5-point favorite today against Virginia.
Saw that.
But the Cavaliers they've had a fine year. Georgia Tech ranked 16th. They're an 8-1 team, and they're at 1-9 Boston College today. So they're going to go 9-1. I look for Tech to be 10-1. When Georgia rolls in there, Donnie. So that game,
surprised.
Hey,
That'll be fun.
Ooh,
You got to send College Game Day to that one.
Buckle up. It's just it's going to get wild here the last couple of weeks. Donnie, it's been fun today. It's good to have
It
you.
has.
Good to have you back. And
Thank you
Caleb,
so much.
Thanks
Glad
a
to
lot
be
for coming
here.
in here. It's been fun. Blow the whistle and let's get the football day started.
Sounds good.
Yep. Hey, that'll do it for today's edition of the GoTeez Sports Page. Thanks to Aaron Ishmael back at Loud Media, our host, the Bluetick Tavern, and all our sponsors. Until next Saturday, this is Mike Edwards, the Greenfield Gunner, wishing everyone good sports.
And that's the final whistle. Join us again next Saturday for the GoTeez Sports Page. The best in local sports since 1978.